and welcome to Logan Sounds Off, where I talk about books, music, and a whole lot more. I'm your host, Logan Kelly. Hello and welcome back to Logan Sounds Off. Today I am doing an album review, except this time it's a bit different. Today it's a Christmas special that I'm doing with my dad. Hey Dad.
Hey Logan.
Today I am reviewing The Clash by the brilliant band The Clash. This was released by CBS in 1977. The members are Joe Strummer, Mick Jones, Paul Simonon and Terry Chimes.
Now, I'm not sure if you know, Logan, but Terry Chimes recorded only one album with The Clash, and then it changed to Topper Headon, who played with all the rest of them until he got sacked.
So I'm going to start off with the first track, which is Clash City Rockers. I think this is a brilliant start to the album, and overall I really like this song, along with a lot of the other songs on this album. What do you think, Dad?
Yeah, Clash City Rockers was a nice upbeat start to the album. I got this album when I was a little bit younger than you. I got it on tape, but in fairness, I gave you this album when you were only 6. So I was about probably 7 when I got it first on tape. And that's the reason why we're sharing this album review.
Wow! And then another song, you were saying the first song there, Clash City Rockers, was upbeat. I'm So Bored with the USA. This was brilliant. And I loved this song, and I also really enjoyed the lyrics. But would you say that was following on with the upbeat kind of vibe?
Definitely. I think I'm So Bored with the USA was one of those songs that at the time I used to press rewind, stop, play, rewind, stop, play. I listened to that song quite a bit when I got it first. I thought it was a really cool song. And I suppose when it came out, it was sort of controversial, saying we were bored of America, considering most of the music that we were all listening to was American music. But then to throw the sort of English or European punk sound behind it, it was a bit different.
Wow, and then the next song, again, brilliant, Remote Control. This definitely would come to mind when I think of The Clash. I really liked the guitar riff in this song, and it was really brilliant, all the instruments that were used in this song and all the components.
Funny enough, Remote Control is probably one of the songs on this album that I wasn't as big a fan of as the others. I just thought it was a little bit, maybe a bit tuney and a little bit less punky. It was just maybe me. As a 7-year-old, listen to punk music. I just found it wasn't as punky as the rest of the songs. Anyway. I
do see what you mean. It was a bit kind of like that, yeah. And then you've also got Complete Control. This is an actual cool echo vocal effect a part of it, and the reverb definitely gave this song a nice touch.
Yeah, and Mick Jones singing on this was particularly good. I really like Mick Jones' tone. He sort of gets the singing across, and with Joe blending in with him as well. Well, it was a really good track.
And then White Riot. This is definitely one of the best songs on this album by far. Very fast paced and heavy, and that is why I loved it. It was very quick, but it got the message across.
Yeah, well, at the time in England, you see, Logan, there was an awful lot of race riots and stuff like that, and what they were trying to highlight was the fact that people need to be individuals and everybody need to be treated the same. And when that came out, it was only like 1 minute 21 or 1 minute 23 seconds or something like that. So it was one of those songs that it was in your face. It just made you stand up and take notice. And I remember seeing a Clash video years ago when I was about 13, and it was showing the Clash playing White Riot live in Finsbury Park at a live concert. It was against, I think it was the Anti-Nazi League they were called at the time, to stop fascism. And I remember watching it and going, God, if you were there, you'd be jumping around that much, you'd be exhausted only after 1 minute and 21 seconds.
Wow. And I think that is quite an eccentric song. And I actually never really knew about that. Now, when you kind of see White Riot, it kind of gives you the clue. But I think that's very fascinating. And then, following on from that, White Man in Hammersmith Palais, yeah. Great guitars and effect on this song. I particularly liked the singing with the effects on that, and it was definitely one of my favourites.
Yeah, White Man and Hammersmith Palais, where that came from. Hammersmith Palais was a place that a lot of reggae bands and stuff used to play, and with the Clash and with a lot of punk bands, they would have originally come sort of full circle from the whole reggae sort of sound. So when they played White Man and Hammersmith Palais, that was a song that everybody could get behind because they had an understanding of where it came from. Fantastic song, absolutely brilliant. Loved it. Every time I listen to it, I always smile.
It's actually, I can definitely agree with that. Now, another song, London's Burning. Great, powerful vocals at the start, and it really is an iconic song.
Definitely. I think the Clash in this regard, if people think about it, they think of probably London's Burning would be the song that an awful lot of people would know, as well as sort of Rock the Casbah and I Fought the Law. But London's Burning, it has that punchy guitar song. It's all on the downstroke. It's, you know, and then the initial lyric, whereas London's burning, it sort of grabs you.
Yeah.
It sort of grabs you and gets you straight into the song, you know.
And then you're saying there, I Fought the Law. This is the next song on the CD that I have here in front of me. I may actually say the CD track list is different to the original track list before I go any further. But this is really an iconic song. I really love this song. And whenever you'd look for the best of the Clash or the essential Clash, this would always be on it.
Well, you do know that I Fought the Law is a cover.
Yeah, I had a kind of feeling about that.
Yeah, because there's a sort of a country version of it as well and stuff like that. But it's one of those songs. But to be fair, Logan, it was re-released around 1990 or in around that time, 1990 to 1995, and they played it to death. So it was one of those songs that we would have all loved and really enjoyed, but all of a sudden it became a thing where you're going, oh God, it's on again. I Fought the Law, here we go. You know, it's one of those things. And
overplayed, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned about the track list. From this CD, there was a re-release from Columbia Records instead of the original CBS. You're missing tracks like Cheat and Protex Blue and
Deny.
Some
brilliant songs.
Yeah.
And then I can definitely agree with you with Overplayed, because I do think there are better songs on this album.
Yeah.
Such as White Man and Hammersmith I can't pronounce it.
Palais.
It'll take me so long because I always thought it was Palace. But then you've also got Janie Jones. I really love the singing in this song. It was just a really good upbeat song.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
It follows on brilliantly from the album. That's what I like about this album. It's consistent. There aren't a couple of good songs and then okay songs. They're all brilliant. And then you've also got Career Opportunities. Again, another fast-paced song of brilliance.
Yeah, I think Career Opportunities, when that came out, it sort of grabbed people by the collars and reminded them that, you know, you don't have to do what you're being told all the time. You can be a bit different, try something a bit different. And that was maybe at the time in the 70s and going into the early 80s, it was a time we were in a big depression. So it was sort of a case of let's get on with it. Let's do what you want to do and enjoy. But as well as that, as a song itself, it's very upbeat. It's very good. It's an excellent, excellent song, and I love it.
Wow. And then, like, when you look at this album, you think it's just a track list of songs. There are all meanings behind these songs.
Yeah.
And I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, well, I think the whole ethos of punk at that time was a whole do-it-yourself ethos. If you want something, go and do it yourself. If you don't like the music that's on the radio, make your own. Go into a garage with a couple of your mates, get drums and guitars and a bass, and just make some noise until the noise starts to sound a little bit appealing. Some of it, of course, was like The Clash, which was more melody-driven and nice tunes, rather than Crass, which was like grab you by the neck and drag you around the place and sort of beat you down with politics. It's a little bit different.
Wow. And then, What's My Name? I loved this song. The chorus in this was amazing. It blew me away. The first time I heard this, when I heard the chorus, it's kind of like one of those songs that you just get up and dance to.
Yeah, I think in this song in particular, the there's parts of it where Joe Strummer's voice sounds so different from the rest of the songs, but is brilliant. It's it's that whole ethos of stand up and be counted for who you are, and get people to, if they're going to speak to you as an individual. Don't talk to you as a crowd all the time. So that it's the whole ethos of this sort of album is, you know, get up, do it for yourself, be an individual, and not be afraid to express yourself.
That is, and I got that kind of idea from this song. And then Haitian War, great vocals and guitars. There's nothing else I can say about this song. It's just amazing. It blew me away. And I know in a lot of the songs there was brilliant vocals, brilliant guitars. And what I liked about this band, it wasn't like NoFX or Stiff Little Fingers. They weren't afraid of effects. They weren't just all about just using amps, no effects, no studio work. They actually put in the effort.
Yeah, they definitely did. Mick Jones' guitar sound is excellent. I think people underestimate him as a guitarist and also as a singer. And the fact that you had two singers on this album, and Joe Strummer's rhythm guitar, people underestimate that big time because he is a driving force. And in fairness, for a rhythm guitar, he's very much part of the whole sort of percussive sound with the fast downstrokes that he generally played.
And then we've also got Police and Thieves. We spoke about I Fought the Law. That was a cover.
Yeah.
This is another cover. Now, The Clash, I don't think they had many covers, but this was brilliant. 6 Minutes of Heaven, though the original song was made by Junior Mervyn and Lee Perry.
Yeah, that Police and Thieves was originally a lovely, soft, gentle reggae song, with the backing vocals sang by a couple of women, and they had a lovely, soft tone to it. So Police and Thieves, when that was released and when it came out, for me, when you listen to all the punchy songs through the whole album, and then Police and Thieves comes on, it's punchy but different. And that's where the whole thing where I was saying about Hammersmith Palais and listening to reggae music and stuff like that, it came into its own. And you'll find a couple of punk bands used to do that, where you grab a reggae song and just slightly change it and reimagine it. So it is an amazing song, absolutely amazing.
I think this is brilliant what you're doing. You're relating the album a lot to reggae. I think The Clash does have a reggae kind of vibe to some of those songs. For instance, Armageddon Time and Police and Thieves. They're both brilliant songs, but they have that reggae kind of vibe to them. Would you agree?
Totally.
And then we've got Jail Guitar Doors. Okay, first off, that's a mental track name. I don't know where that came out of, but it has great cymbals and powerful guitar. And overall, I really enjoyed this song.
Well, for me, it's my least favourite on the whole album. It's typical, of course. I don't know what it is. It was nearly trying to be poppy in comparison to the punchy sounds of the rest of the album. It's just me, one person.
I would say there is way better songs on this album. I've said this in past album reviews, and this is very important for a song. But when you have to think about the band or even the album, you need to be able to think about a specific kind of idea of songs. I never even heard of Jail Guitar Doors, and I know this album very well. But I think the next song will definitely make up for it. Garageland. A great finish to the album and great lyrics.
Absolutely. Garageland was like what I was speaking about, the whole idea of living in the suburbs and being fed up and deciding what are we going to do. Everybody had a semi-detached house with a garage on it, so they go and start a garage band. So we're a garage band, as they say in the song. It's an absolutely brilliant finish to this album, and it's one that I think if anybody hasn't heard the full album, need to give it a right good listen.
And to be honest though, what I like about this song is it would do well as the first song as well, that it would still hook you. And something else that I like about this is that a lot of people, especially people who are the same age as some of the members of The Clash, they will relate to this kind of song. And I think it's one of my favourite songs by far on this album. Now,
it's funny you say that. It's actually one of my favourites too.
Really?
And always was, yeah.
And now the overall thoughts. So usually this is a bit short, but because of the way this album is, it's going to be a bit longer. So the songs that were actually originally on this album but were taken off, all brilliant songs, Protex Blue being one of them, which is definitely by far one of my favourite Clash songs.
Yeah.
And you've also got Deny and Cheat and 48 Hours, which was taken off, which I only thought it was like 2 or 3 songs, not 4. Way too much taken off in my opinion. But still, they kept it as a good album. I am going to rate this album a 5 stars. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's one of those albums that for some of our listeners that would have had it on tape, it was played to death. But I really enjoyed it. I loved The Clash. They were probably still one of my favourite bands of that sort of genre of music. I think The Clash themselves, with the fact that you have 2 different types of singers. I did notice though that when it moved on and Topper Headon came in on the drums, because he sort of had a more of a jazzy background, it gave a different sort of a sound to The Clash, which was good. And but in fairness, for a first album to bring it to the front, it's like Stiff Little Fingers with Inflammable Material. It's one of those seminal albums that when it comes out, you suddenly go, Jesus, who are these? These are absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. So, to be honest, even since I was your age, Logan, they've been a favourite. I'll be 49 on New Year's Eve, so I'm not a young man, but at the same time, I have a very young attitude to music and I still love it. So for me, it's a 100% 5 stars from the cow.
Well, there you go. 2 5 stars for this album. And
so does that mean it gets 10 stars?
yeah. Yeah. Well, to be honest, if we could rate it any higher, I believe it would get that high. But something actually that you said there with Inflammable Material, a good debut album can go very far. And that is the difference between having a good band and a bad band. And on that note, I'm going to finish up this album review. Today, me and my dad, Brian Kelly, have reviewed The Clash, released 1977. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Logan Sounds Off. You can follow me on X, Facebook and Instagram at Logan Sounds Off. And don't forget to subscribe and not miss any more cool episodes. Bye guys!